Cruise news time. Well, we've got another Carnival cruise ship being denied access to a port of call. The CDC dropping on us yesterday some new protocols. We also have Royal Caribbean and Carnival both implementing policies that should save some cruisers some hassle and some money. And yeah, I don't know. There's a lot more. It's a pile of cruise news. Cruise news. Let's talk about it. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Lido, Loca. I'm your host, Tony, here with the latest cruise news updates. And, well, welcome back to the show. How's everybody doing? Tuesday, December the 28th, 2021. Let's take a moment. Take a breath in. Sometimes I sense some tension in the community. Look, this is a safe space. If you're watching the show and you're getting all upset, you know, I want you to watch the show, certainly, but I don't want you to be upset. Just take it in. We're just talking about cruising here. We're all cruise faithful. Are everybody good? I'm good. Are you good? All right, let's talk a little cruise news. Well, the first story, Carnival Panorama turned away from Puerto Vallarta yesterday. And the way it went, it's the same story as last week when the cruise ship approached Puerto Vallarta. The local authorities said, "How many COVID cases do you have?" And then after they told them, they went, No, we're good. Apparently, the way that it worked is on December the 24th, it was reported that there were 5 cases amongst the crew on the Carnival Panorama, but as they made their way to Puerto Vallarta yesterday, the health officials there revealed that they were told that there were 69 cases on board amongst the crew, and that was more than Puerto Vallarta wanted to deal with. And so, if I haven't said it clearly, I do believe this is the process working. Cruise lines working with local health authorities to determine whether or not it is safe to make those ports a call. Those were the agreements put in place before there were any case numbers, and it does seem like that process is working. And you can't blame these local authorities that are in charge of small populations and, access to the country, that kind of thing. You can't blame them for wanting to keep people safe. It does leave cruise passengers who are looking to go have some time in Puerto Vallarta. It does leave them in the lurch, and it does bring back that conversation that if you are cruising now, be ready for some change. There are certainly more cruise ships making their cruise stops than are not, based on what we've seen on the CDC website and what we've seen reported, but you may be one of the unlucky few who have a case count too high where you can't go to a port of call. So take all that in with a grain of salt when making your cruising decision. Now, I know a lot of people out there are saying, well, that's not fair. I paid for a cruise. I should be able to go to the cruise port I paid for. And certainly I understand that approach, and it has not fallen on deaf ears, at least when it comes to Carnival. They have implemented a new policy where for the next 2 weeks for cruises, itineraries that are happening between now and January the 14th, if you want to cruise because you're concerned about missing a port, concerned about case counts on board, you can cancel without any penalty. So you can cancel for a full refund, or you can reschedule your cruise without a financial penalty. This is a big deal. A lot of times people feel locked in because of the financial component of their cruise, and Carnival going out of their way to make sure that if you don't feel comfortable cruising right now, you can certainly change it up. They join other companies like Royal, which has a policy where you can cancel within 48 hours of your cruise and get a future cruise credit. A lot of cruise lines are doing this. Not every cruise line, but Carnival in the mix. If you're on a Carnival cruise and you don't feel comfortable for the next couple weeks, you can get your money back, or you can reschedule at no cost. Kudos to Carnival, and Carnival not the only company making some accommodations for passengers. We've talked about this recently. Royal Caribbean doing away with the test for international passengers on the cruise ship starting January the 5th. A lot of international travelers have a requirement that they must be tested prior to returning to their home country, and Royal Caribbean was providing those tests on board. They're going to stop doing that on January the 5th. And when we first saw this announcement, Royal was talking about 3 options for passengers: testing at the port, testing at the airport, testing somewhere local in the community, and talking about how that cost would be passed on to the passengers. But just an update or a clarification to that, for the whole month of January, that testing at the cruise port will be paid for by Royal Caribbean. So you won't be tested on the cruise ship. There will be testing in the terminal. They'll provide a PCR, an antigen test, whatever is required for your return to the home country, and they will be picking up the cost of that. But starting February the 1st, any cost incurred for extra testing to get back home or a test required after your cruise, that's going to be on the passenger. Let's quickly dip out of the cruise news and circle back around to something I was talking about yesterday. I was talking about whether or not to wear pants on Norwegian Cruise Line, and a lot of great conversation there. But one of the reoccurring comments I got was, what was on the empty plates in the French restaurant? The presentation of the plates is about a minute clip. I'm going to go ahead and share it with you so that you can see the full presentation of what was happening at Le Bistro. It was nice. I mean, the service was super nice. I'll play the extended clip here so you can see what went on the plates.
This is just amazing. You get the biggest surprise ever. Wow. Keep disappearing, right?
It was that good, you ate it on the way out.
We'll get it back.
Okay, put on the spot or put in okay?
Thank you.
Enjoy.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much.
There you go. That's coq au vin. That's chicken. And they served it tableside, prepared the plate. It was nice. I would highly recommend Le Bistro if you have the opportunity to check it out on a Norwegian Cruise Line cruise ship. And now the mystery of the empty plates is solved. They would have got away with it if it wasn't for those meddling kids. All right, what's left? We need to talk about what's going on with the flight cancellations. We need to talk about this new announcement from the CDC. And I also need to quickly invite you to subscribe. If you like staying up to date with everything that's going on in cruising, please consider subscribing with the notification bell on. That way you don't miss out on any of our episodes. And a big welcome to everybody who's joined the channel over the last few days. The Loca fam getting bigger with every day. We're glad to have you here. Thank you all in advance. And now let's move on to the airline story. Have you been tracking along with this? So we have the rise in the Omicron, and you have a rise in case counts. And when somebody tests positive, they can't go to work. And you know who's not been able to go to work? Like flight attendants, flight and pilots. And it's caused some hubbub when it comes to the airlines. It started back on Christmas Eve with thousands of cancellations. I heard that on Sunday it was like 1,500 cancellations. Yesterday, 1,200 cancellations. The problem is they're not able to get people there to staff the airlines, and they're having to cancel. And look, this does hit a little bit close to home. One of our sons is in from Kentucky. He flew in from Nashville. He has to fly back out later on in the week, and so I've been watching this airline thing very closely. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be ceasing, these cancellations, so it'll be interesting what it looks like at the end of the week. But yeah, that's a big story. That's something that definitely could impact people cruising, impact people flying to the cruise port. Are you going to be able to get in? Are you going to be able to get home? That's the question I have. Anybody getting off a cruise in the last few days? Have you had any trouble with your flights? Leave a comment below. And again, a lot of it is tied to the fact that once somebody tests positive for the virus, they have to stay away from work. They had to stay away from work for 10 days until this big announcement from the CDC yesterday. The CDC announcing yesterday that if you've tested positive for the virus and you're asymptomatic, that you're not showing any symptoms, you only have to stay isolated or quarantined or away from everybody for 5 days. This is the new recommendation to really try to keep life going on. So imagine if you're a pilot or a flight attendant, you were sitting out for 10 days. Well, now you only have to sit out for 5 days, and then on the tail end of that, for 5 days after returning to wherever you're returning, make sure that you're wearing masks when you are around people. This announcement comes on the heels of an announcement toward the end of last week, the same kind of announcement for healthcare workers, where healthcare workers could return after 5 5 days instead of a 10-day isolation. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. All these protocols coming forward, certainly different than the protocols that we got with the original virus, the protocols that we got with Delta, the protocols now different as we're dealing with Omicron. And this, just on the surface, this seems better, that you don't have to stay isolated as long, that they're talking about the window for transmissibility, maybe even shorter or pushed to the beginning of the cycle. So, it's going to be interesting to track along with it. It will be interesting to see if this new clarification will get travel back up, will get flights going again. Continues to be fluid. We'll watch it over the next couple days, and we'll certainly know, or I'll certainly know, when it comes time to return my son to Kentucky, whether or not we will be impacted by flight cancellations. Boom, that's your cruise news, and let me kick it over to you. How you doing? What do you think about the new policies from Carnival and Royal? Do you think it's helpful to passengers? Have you had flights canceled? So much to talk about. Keep that great conversation going on in the comments below. Thank you so much for checking out the show today. You can show your support by hitting the like button. And look, I'll straight up threaten you. If you do not hit the like button, magically you will open up your cupboards and your refrigerator, and the only thing that it can be filled with for the next 7 days is fruitcake. Fruitcake from Aunt Peg. Who wants that? This is Tony with Lido Loca, and until the next time, we'll see you on the Lido. Bye.